Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Six for Six. Today, ladies and gentlemen, is our 5th anniversary of Six for Six. It goes all the way back to June 8th, 2021 is when we first debuted this show on the MI6 Sports Network. What a journey has it been. With 5 seasons of Six for Six, we have done a lot of different things over the years with a split season 3 over, the course of 2024 going into 2025. Like there was a lot of things that happened in our show's history. We got a couple historical 6 for 6 picks sprinkled throughout the many different seasons. And in our first season of 6 for 6, ladies and gentlemen, was only 16 episodes. And then the following year in season 2, we end up getting 35 episodes out of our next season of 6 for 6. Yes, we have tapered down a little bit. Life has just gotten busy. That's how it always has been. On top of that, even in season 3, we had a couple guest picks. On top of that, even in season 4, like our first guest was Isaiah, and then our second guest pick was John Alcorn. A lot of things, like I said, has changed over the years, and the numbers kind of speak for themselves. On top of it, I know we haven't been creating content as much, but a lot of things have happening. My shift of the work schedule, and just trying to, find 6 games to watch because the season starts to wind down. But now this is like I said, the summers are tough when you're trying to pick 6 games because not all the games are always televised and for people to watch. So you got to get creative a little bit. But then you have also, the World Cup coming up. So we're going to start shifting our focus into the World Cup games and sprinkling some of the finals, depending if we got good matchups going into the finals and stuff like that. But then we also got to focus on ramping up to college football. So like the month of June and July, we'll got World Cup games that will solidify us pretty much to the beginning of July before the group pool starts to shrink down from the group stage to the round of 32 to 16 to the quarters, to the semis and to the finals and third place games of the World Cup on top of that. So we're going to look forward towards that. But just the story of 6 for 6, like I said, it's the 5th anniversary, and we've done a lot of content over the years. Like I said, it's been 5 years of this program. We got to do something special for year 6. 6 for 6 on year 6. That's what we're going to be doing. But I think from what I'm seeing historically, I'm going to try to find ways to get the older content all on our YouTube page. So stuff that sits on MI6, bring that over and put it on the actual 6 for 6 YouTube page. And same with the stuff on Ice, and take all that content and bring it on over to 6 for 6. Now, the thing I got to figure out, ladies and gentlemen, is working with those 2 networks that I was a part of. Obviously, I feel like it'll be fine with me taking all that content and bringing it in-house. So if something does happen to those channels, like I will still have, the possession of those videos so we can look back on it. So that's going to be a huge project undertaking. And we're going to sprinkle some of that in. And just because it's our 5th anniversary starting up, that's what we're going to do. We're going to take episodes and re-release them so you guys can watch historical moments throughout the 6 for 6 years. We might try to release a couple episodes at a time, sprinkle in when we have a little bit of dead space, or just have content being continuously released outside of the main release schedule, which is going to be fun to, try to set up playlists on top of that. But I think we can figure it out and re-release things without much of a problem. I think we have the intuition and the capability of pulling that off. But like I said, ladies and gentlemen, it's been a ride. Like, to just break down some of the stats that we have so far, let's just take a look at, our season 5 record and how we're looking. So last time on episode 10, I know it's been a hot minute since we recorded a show and got it up, but our last episode was 4-2, which is pretty spectacular. And that's also improving our record, a record of 24-23 on top of that, ladies and gentlemen. So that is another great record, looking relatively being on the up and up on the winning side of things. And then our percentage wise, for season 5, we're not looking too shabby. For our wins, we have about a 59.65% chance of correct picks for season 5. And then our incorrect picks thus far is 40%, 0.35% for our losses, which is not bad. And we have no ties yet, so we'll see what happens with the World Cup sprinkling through. And then our overall lifetime record, ladies and gentlemen, you'll be impressed with how many correct picks we've gotten over the years. We have 280 correct picks, 209 incorrect picks, 6 ties, and 2 postponed games that were DNFs and that did not finish. I think one was a bowl game that got canceled because of thunderstorm, and then the Dahar Hamlin scenario with Buffalo and Cincinnati. Those are our 2 games that had been ruled off from our correct picks because the games didn't finish. So that also changes our lifetime record with our correct picks. It doesn't, I think it throws out those games for wins and losses. So our win percentage for a lifetime is 56.57%. And our losses, ladies and gentlemen, are 42.22%. And then our lifetime ties is 1.21%, which is not too shabby if I do say so myself. But you'd be astonished with all of our picks that we have thus far. We have made 497 picks on 6 for 6, shy of 500. So you think about it. Yes, if I did a couple of release episodes, we crack over 500. But this is where season 5 is. We break the 500 barrier. We keep going. I mean, sure, I can try to consolidate all the views historically. That might be tough if we're going to be removing videos from other contents and all that stuff. But on the 6 for 6 channel alone, since we've debuted it as a solo show from the other networks that we were a part of, it has gotten 280 views, ladies and gentlemen. 280 views. Yes, we're going to make a lot of progress moving forward, and re-releasing old episodes will also boost up that number longevity-wise. So we're looking pretty good. I'm pretty happy with where things are at. 3 subscribers across the board. But that also means the legacy of our show, ladies and gentlemen, is 107 episodes for 6 for 6. That's between from MI6 to Ison and to being our own standalone show with 5 seasons across that span. I mean, the first season was on 6 for 6, half of the second season on MI6, and then the other half goes into Ison a little bit, and then we become our own solo production. And we have grown. We have done a lot of things that we're proud of. But I can take like a quick look about historical-wise of what we have gotten through since I have that capability with the spreadsheet. So in the first year of 6 for 6, ladies and gentlemen, we didn't track our wins and losses. It didn't dawn to us to start doing that. But in season 2, we made sure to track that 100%. So when we start tracking our wins and losses in season 2, we had 79 wins and 89 losses with 2 ties. And those percentages, you know, our average wins was about 2.93% average on wins for correct picks and 2.69 for our average losses. But, you know, our overall wins, we were in the positive for the win column with 51.6%, and losses was 47.34% with a 1.06% in ties. Now and season 2 had 35 episodes with, I believe, 2 bye weeks in there where we just did recaps of stats and stuff like that. Same with season 3 where we had 2 bye weeks. But also, I think between our overall record and then like breaking up between 2024, it was a kind of mixed bag. But season 3's record was 72 wins, 50 losses, and 3 ties, which looks good. And then I believe our 2024 record was 46 wins, 31 losses, and 1 tie. And then that kind of takes that out. And our percentage for wins was 57.6 to 40% in losses with a tie percentage of 2.4%, with our average wins of about 3.27, and our average losses were 2.27. in that front. Now we move on to season 3, where we had 21. Season 4, where we had 21 episodes, and we had a 77 correct picks with 47 incorrect picks with 1 tie. So our winning percentage thus far, it was at the time 61.6% compared to our losses, which was 37.6%, and our average percent of losses. Our wins on average was a 3.66 repeating, and then our average loss was a 2.23%, and the total of average losses on that front as well. So, like I said, it's been a long journey. I might just keep those shows up there on the historical network. I don't know. I got to figure out what the guys want to do with it. I shall probably try to figure out how to record each episodes. I can probably add it to the spreadsheet, make sure the views are accounted for before I strip those videos down and keep it all in-house on 6for6. On top of that, but like I said, we still got to figure that when the bridge comes through. But I think that's what we're going to do. We're going to start migrating all the older episodes over to the 6for6 YouTube page, so we can have anything historical, just in case if those YouTube channels get taken down for any reason or any problems. They all will be housed on our 6for6 page 100%. So that's what we're going to be going for our 5th anniversary, re-releasing old episodes and just capturing all of 6for6 history. So when we get to our 10th anniversary, we have everything in our possession and we don't have any other problems. But thank you so much for tuning in to the 5th anniversary of 6for6. It's been a journey, everyone. Thank you so much for all the support that you put into it over the years. We couldn't have gotten here without all your support. And we'll catch you on another episode of 6for6. So long for now. Bye-bye.